Hello and welcome to Start Select, the video game show from GameSpot UK that battles through the post-E3 jet lag to bring you the biggest and best games. On this week's show, we're going to take a look at Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, the Uncharted 2 beta, and Burnout Paradise Big Surf Island. We've also got a competition to give away 5 copies of Prototype on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. But first, let's check in with Luke and Leo from Capcom to find out about the phenomenon that is Monster Hunter.
Hey guys, I'm Luke Anderson. I'm joined right now by Capcom's resident Monster Hunter guru, Leo Tan. Leo, thanks for joining us.
All right, thanks for having me.
Cool, so we're here to talk about Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. Tell us a little about the series. Monster Hunter's been around for a couple of years, for quite a few years, sorry, in Japan. And it's been quite a popular series over there. So tell us a bit about it.
Sure, well, let's go back to the beginning. Monster Hunter 1 and 2 came out on PS2. And they were very popular in Japan because the PS2's online service was quite well developed there. Less popular outside of Japan because nobody took their PS2 online, well, certainly in this country. And it did quite well. Monster Hunter Freedom or Monster Hunter Portable came out on PSP. And then it that's when it took off. It became this crazy phenomenon, selling millions and millions of units. And now it's the biggest game in Japan today. It's bigger than Pokemon, it's bigger than Wii Fit. You'll see people playing on the tube, in the streets, in cafes, McDonald's, everywhere you go you'll see people playing Monster Hunter.
So run us through kind of the basic gameplay. What's the game all about? Kind of how does it play, and kind of what's the main kind of, I guess, characteristics of the gameplay?
Sure, it's huge and there's loads to it. The producer summed it up to me recently as hit big monsters with big weapons, and that probably sums it up. If you wanted to go a bit deeper, you could describe it as maybe an action MMO. In that it has a real-time combat, it has you with your sword using your skill or your hammer or your bow, using your raw physical skill to overcome a huge monster. But it also has this overarching MMO-style RPG metagame in which you collect better loot, build better armor and weapons, and that lets you take on progressively tougher monsters as you go through. So it tends to be, it's a game that people play on average for people who get into it. I think the average play time in a recent study was 400 hours or so. So it's a game that it's huge, and there's loads to do in it as well. It's not just necessarily hunting down and fighting big monsters. There's other things that you might associate with MMO-style games, fishing and cooking and that sort of thing.
But it's primarily PvE, right?
PvE, yeah. There's no competitive aspect to it whatsoever. There are kind of time trials in the training, but as it's local only, there's no real way for you to post your signs on a signboard unless you're part of a forum or community. You could do it then, but yeah, purely co-op. Sure.
And what's kind of a step-by-step guide of kind of how you start off? You meet friends, and then you kind of how do you go from there? Kind of to go through a quest and then eventually like kill a monster.
Sure. Flow of the game, I guess. First 4 of you meet somewhere in a pub, if you're me and my friends, get the drinks in, take a sit down, decide what you're going to kill, head to your bedroom, or your bedroom in the game, obviously. Yeah, absolutely. Choose the armor and weapons that you're going to use that's best for that task. Decide what roles you're going to play. Is some guy going to be the healer? Is some guy going to be the buffer? Is some guy going to be, his goal is to cut off the beast's tail so that it can't do certain attacks? Get all your stuff together, go to the gathering hall, which is where you meet in the game. Go on your quest, head out. Buff up, take all your potions and business, track down the monster who, it's not like I think you can think of it as a boss rush game in that it's about these huge monsters that come at you over and over, except they don't really want to fight you. It's you have a real sense of hunting him, hence the name Monster Hunter. So track him down, find out where he is, paintball him, flashes up on screen, everybody knows, everybody converges on him, killing occurs, take all his stuff, go home, build better stuff, repeat.
And there's but the one kind of unique aspect, I guess, is there's no leveling up in the game.
No leveling up at all. So you do become more powerful, but that's through your gear, and it tends to be that as you progress, you'll have some gear that works really well and some gear that doesn't, and you'll spend all your time improving different bits. And generally speaking, you're never really that much statistically superior to other people. It tends to be more that you get better skills. You do have increased damage output and that sort of a thing, but that's really important because A, it means you can, you never level away from your friends, so you can always play together. But B, it means that it's not a case of you have to put in so many hours before you're statistically capable of beating such and such a monster. You can replace almost every piece of statistical superiority with just your skill. Although it'll probably take you quite a long time to build up that skill as well. But yeah, it's not necessary grind.
Yeah, you can always introduce new friends to the game. It's not like you're going to be level 60 and they start off at 0 and they have to play for like 50 hours before they can kind of get up to the same level as you to play against you, right?
Yeah, sure. I'm about 600 hours in at the moment on my. That's time from Freedom 2, and then I moved my save game over to Freedom Unite. We've had the copies in the office for a couple of weeks, so I'm about 600 hours in. If you start up the game now, we can play together. I can come in and I can get something out of going on missions with you as well, because I might need certain parts for beginner monsters to make weapons that I haven't got yet, and I'm obsessed with collecting all the weapons.
Brilliant. Okay, what if I don't have 3 friends with PSPs? How can I kind of still get into the game?
Well, you can still play on your own. New to Freedom Unite is the addition of an AI companion, a feline, who's basically a little cat in armor. And you take him through the game with you. You train him up. He can use swords or hammers, or he can throw bombs. He might buff you. He might set traps. It all depends on how you configure him. He doesn't put out an awful lot of damage, so he's still not as good, I don't think, as having another actual person. But he's pretty decent. Even if you didn't have him, the whole game can be played solo player anyway. But I think that misses out on some of the joy of the game, which is because social gaming often means sitting around the TV playing products, if you like. They're not really games. They're not something you'd sink your teeth into and relish as a proper gamer. Whereas Monster Hunter is people getting together and playing proper games, anywhere that they like.
Why do you think it's been such a cult kind of hit in Japan, and why it's kind of failed to take off in Europe so far?
I think that, there's a couple of factors. We haven't really got behind it here. I think that it's on PSP, and retailers are not desperate necessarily to back PSP when they could be backing DS or 360 or PS3 games on their shelves. But in Japan, it's I don't know whether it's safer. It's cleaner. The weather's better. And there are loads more places for you to hang out in public, and that you could play your PSP. So to kickstart this social phenomenon that is Monster Hunter, it's just a better environment for it. I think here we have, certainly anyway, kids necessarily can't walk around with their PSPs on show in central London. So there's a little bit of that. I think that probably piracy is a bigger issue here than it is in Asia, although I don't have figures on that, so that's just me guessing. And so but mostly I think probably the main reason is that we've not got behind it before. We just kind of snuck it out and put it in the shops and didn't really tell anybody what was going on. This time with Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, we're really going to work on making people more aware of that A, it's coming, but B, also why they should be playing it and why they should be figuring out where in the house their PSP has been for the last few months.
You guys have announced quite a few plans around the launch, including a PSP bundle, right?
Yeah, for sure. First time for us that we're doing a PSP bundle, so that's great news. We've also got a downloadable demo. I think it's the first downloadable demo since the PSP launched in the UK, so that's quite a big deal. Certainly, it's not something that happens very often. We've also got, if you write into us, we can send you the demo on UMD. We're sending that in packs of 4. So yeah, we really want as many people as possible to try Monster Hunter.
And you do that off the Monster Hunter website, don't you?
Yes, which is monsterhunter-freedomunite.com, www. Or you could also find it if you go through Encyclopedia Gigantica.
Cool.
Which I'm not going to spell out for you.
Lastly, tell us about the real-life gathering hall that Capcom's getting together.
Right, sure. So in Japan, it's really easy for you to meet and play with other people. You can just sit down in the tube and a game will crop up on your screen because someone else will be playing. We don't really have that here in the UK, or London is kind of where most of the players are. It's the biggest concentration of people. So we wanted to create somewhere where you could go and meet with other people and play Monster Hunter. So the Gathering Hall is it. Central location, 1 minute's walk from Tottenham Court Road Tube Station on Charing Cross Road. It's a 3-story premises. Come along with your PSP and your copy of Monster Hunter. You'll be able to come in, meet us, play with us, download exclusive quests, meet the developers later on. There'll be tutorial nights. There should be loads of stuff going on.
Okay, so you can find out more information about that on the website?
On the website, there'll be stuff on Encyclopedia Cantica. Yep. There's loads of stuff on our forums as well. Capcom-Europe.com. That's the one. Yeah.
Brilliant. And when's the final game coming out?
June the 26th.
June the 26th?
Any second now.
In Europe?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, cool. Well, thanks a lot for your time.
Cool.
Competition time now on Start Select. On our E3 special last week, we gave you the chance to win a huge bag of swag containing all of the goodies and freebies that we collected up in Los Angeles. It's full to the brim of items you simply can't buy, so it's going to make one lucky winner very, very happy. All you had to do was tell us the answer to this question. In which country is Alan Wake being developed? The answer is, of course, Finland, and our lucky winner is Stephen Tarland from South Shields. Congratulations to you, Stephen. We'll get that bag of swag out to you ASAP. This week, Activision has been kind enough to give us 5 copies of Prototype to give away. Now, Prototype is the new open-world action game from Radical, and it pits you as Alex Mercer, a shape-shifting anti-hero who can morph into an arsenal of deadly weapons, such as a 6-foot-long blade arm. You can win the game on Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3 by simply answering this question. What is the name of the engine that's powering the game? Send us your answer, your name and address, and the platform of your choice to competitions@gamespot.co.uk and watch next week's Start Select to find out if you've won. Now though, let's check out the multiplayer beta for Uncharted 2 on the PlayStation 3. Hello, I'm Guy Cocker with GameSpot UK, and today I'm going to be running you through the Uncharted 2 multiplayer beta for the PlayStation 3. We were lucky enough to be invited onto the beta of the game, which offers 3 levels and 3 multiplayer game modes to whet our appetite for the release of the full game in Q3 2009.
I see him! There he is!
The competitive multiplayer comes in 2 flavours, Team Deathmatch and Plunder, which is effectively just Uncharted's version of Capture the Flag. You start each round with a pistol, rifle and 1 grenade, but there are plenty of other weapons found all over each map. These include much more powerful weapons such as rocket launchers and Gatling guns, but they're big and heavy, so they prevent you from moving around as quickly. There are also accessories such as riot shields and gas canisters, the latter of which you can toss at enemies and then shoot to blow up. There's not a lot to Uncharted's competitive multiplayer that online veterans won't have seen before, but the game still manages to carve a niche thanks to its platforming and general physicality. Characters move like they're in an adventure game, running, jumping and rolling through the world, and you can even dangle from a ledge while firing. Then there's the perk system, which allows you to enhance your skills over the competition. You can improve accuracy for your pistol or rifle, or have the ability to carry more ammo, get more ammo in each pickup, or have more bullets in each clip. The matchmaking system is a little buggy at the moment and it can take a few minutes to find a game, but that's soon going to be fixed by a patch. The rest of the online system is robust. You can buddy up with your friends to move between games, and in the finished game you'll be able to record in-game action and watch it back later. Where Uncharted 2 really stands out though is in its cooperative multiplayer, where 3 people can join forces and take on the enemy AI.
He's over here! Over here!
You have to work together to take on the military as well as solve basic puzzles, and the game continues until you either make it to the end or everyone dies. We really like how the co-op revival system works in particular. If one of the team is mortally wounded, someone has to go and save them by holding the triangle button, but the longer you take it to get there, the longer it takes for them to be revived. We really enjoyed our time in the Uncharted 2 beta, especially with the co-op gameplay, which we can really see as being one of the main draws of the finished game. Our written hands-on for the beta has even more information on the multiplayer game, and be sure to check out our latest impressions of the single player from our recent E3 coverage. Big Surf Island was released for Burnout Paradise yesterday, and we wasted no time going out there and downloading it. Is it worth £9.99? Let's find out. It's fair to say that Burnout Paradise has received a lot of downloadable content. It's probably second only to Guitar Hero and Rock Band in terms of post-release extras. However, Big Surf Island is the biggest and most expensive addition to Burnout yet. For $12.99 or £9.99, you can now drive over the bridge at the east of Paradise City and onto a totally new island complete with new races, jumps and vehicles. We downloaded the content fresh from the net as soon as it was released this week, and we're pleased to say that while it's costly, it's still well worth checking out. The big draw of the Big Surf Island DLC is obviously the new playing area, but there's plenty more to experience other than the new real estate. There are a total of 9 cars to unlock, including this new Dust Storm buggy, which is open from the off. Big Surf Island is packed to the brim with insane jumps, and the Dust Buggy is the perfect vehicle to tackle them with, as it's fast, light and agile. Then there are the new challenges to complete: 15 events, 10 freeburn challenges, and over 100 billboards, smashes and jumps to find on the island. We can't profess to have found them all, but Criterion promises over 5 hours of playtime from the DLC alone. The island itself feels like the playground for the rich and famous inhabitants of Paradise City. Not only are there shops and malls aplenty, but there's even a ski jump at the very peak of the island. This attraction in particular is the point of the highest jump on Big Surf Island, but there are numerous other under construction buildings to explore, as well as a lighthouse that you can jump through. Exploring this island offers some of the most fun that we've had in the game, as there's just so much barrel rolling fun to be had with the new buggy.
Watch out for more split ramps like that one. Get the angle right, and you put the car into a barrel roll.
The races on Big Surf Island actually take the form of checkpoint races, meaning you have to pass through gates on a loop track rather than racing from A to B. There's also a new event type called Island Tours on this DLC, and they're particularly challenging as they involve racing around the island to a short deadline. All in all though, the new challenges should keep you going for quite a while, and of course you can still drive all of them in the cars, bikes and other DLC that you might have previously bought. It's certainly an expensive business keeping up with Burnout Paradise DLC. All of the collected content released so far would cost you £48.54 if you were to download it on the PlayStation Network. That said, Burnout Paradise is still one of, if not the best arcade racing game on the market right now, and if you only buy one piece of DLC for the game, then Big Surf Island should be it. Check out our impressions of more of the game's DLC on our reviews blog, and of course check out the full review of the original game on GameSpot.com. That's all for this week's Start Select, but remember, you can subscribe to us in iTunes if you want a weekly dose of GameSpot UK automatically delivered to your iPod. We're available in both standard and high definition varieties, so search for Start Select on the iTunes store to check us out. We'll be back again next Friday with another edition of Start Select, so we'll see you in a week's time.